Y'all know what time it is. We in the building early. You're listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia. I'm Wole, and I'm joined by my guys, Glen and George. What's going on, folks?
Yo, nothing much, man. It's just another day, man, and we enjoying life, man. As a Commanders fan, it's good to have an off season. Even though you didn't win the Super Bowl, but you can still talk Commanders football, and we can smile.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I'm sorry, it's good.
Yeah, we can still talk. Yeah, that's true. We can still talk and be still smiling in the process. It's not like a negative off season, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? George, what's going on, bro? Oh, we got Mo in the building too. So let me put Mo in here.
I'm enjoying some Maryland basketball on TV, but I got to tell you something. I work with an Eagles fan, and we had the safety meeting today, and he's walking up behind me saying, "Oh, it's just so nice to see." And then he starts, "Oh, it's going to be back to back. We're going to go back to back. I've ordered my Saquon jersey with the Super Bowl patch." I'm sitting there going, if the Eagles win this thing back to back, I'm going to have to quit this job. I'm going to have to quit this job that I love because I'm going to have to get away from this person.
Man, George, don't be extreme, bro. Don't be extreme. I understand the anger, but don't be extreme, my guy.
Rudy, I'm gonna have to listen to this from Gene at work every damn day.
Every name drop
season starts. I am telling you, every time I see him, he's gonna have this big old grin on his face. I'm gonna look at that paper shredder and want to throw myself in it.
Oh. I love it. Hey, what's going on, Mo? How you been, bro? Haven't seen a minute, bro. What's going on,
man? It's good to be back on with y'all, man. It's been a minute. Everybody good?
Everybody.
Good to have you, Mo.
Man, it's good to see everybody. I'm good, man. I'm good. What's the question?
Are we about to get into it? First, we're going to knock out some particulars before we get into everything. Hey, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Go everything. Also, tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG_everything. Also, make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Go everything YouTube channel. Please hit that red subscribe button and also like this video. And if you're feeling real generous, hit us up with a super chat on YouTube. We'll prioritize that that comment on our super chat. So make sure if you want to contribute, make sure hit us up on super chat, and we'll make sure we prioritize your comment. Also, this is also being streamed on the Urban Sports Scene X handle, so you can watch it there as well. Anyway, it's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. We'll debate what's the biggest need for the Commanders in terms of the offensive line. Compared to the defensive line, what is the biggest need for the Washington Commanders? Hey, George, take it away, bro.
You couldn't walk away from the NFC Championship game without noting how dominant Philadelphia was in the trenches against Washington. Philadelphia battered the Commanders in the trenches, and that is the main reason why that game ended up a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
So we know we got to get better there, and we know that Washington's got cap space to do something about this. They've got draft picks to do something about this. But what is the bigger need here? Is it the offensive line or is it the defensive line?
Hey, Mo, you can go ahead and take it first, bro.
Oh, that's absolutely.
I will take it first and say this.
Oh, you? Okay, go, George. Go ahead, George. No, go ahead, George. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
I will say, for my money, it's the offensive line, and here's why. We don't have Sam Cosmi maybe for the entire season next year. Brandon Coleman did well, but is he the solution at left tackle? I think we're not sure about that. Andrew Wiley was better last year. He had his good moments, but when it really counted, I'm not sure he's good enough at right tackle, or as if some people talk about kicking him in at right guard. Tyler Biotis was great at center, but when he wasn't in there, our backup center was nowhere near as good. This offensive line needs more talent. It needs more depth. And it needs to be able to stand up to that fearsome front Philadelphia has. That is the core strength of these Eagles, is that those four guys don't need any help to get to the quarterback, and they don't need a lot of help to stop the run either. And if we're thinking about beating Philadelphia, because that's the prism that nearly everybody I hear on social media, on YouTube, all the content creators I watch and listen to are talking about, is we got to view this offseason in terms of the prism of we got to beat Philadelphia. Our offensive line has to get a lot better or we will not be able to stand up to that Eagles defensive line, and we're going to be having the same problems come next year when we got to play them 2 or maybe even 3 times.
Yeah, go ahead, Mo. You can follow up.
Hey, I'm absolutely agreeing with George on that one. I think it's the offensive line for sure. I think for the simple fact that you want to keep Jaden clean, you want to keep Jaden upright, right? You don't want Jaden you don't want the line to get to a point where Jaden is having to do too much, right? Back there, we've seen him do well this year for sure and all that, but like you don't want that to be the consistent basis of how your quarterback has to operate. So for that reason, so I can have something different than George, but still agree on the same side of the ball. I'll go with that. Also, like I like Brandon Coleman. I think he did pretty well for a rookie.
For a rookie, and where he drafted at. Yeah, I agree.
You got a rookie going up against premier defensive ends. He had the main responsibility week in and week out. Like it wasn't like he was a turnstile. You know, so because of that, like you gotta assume that that's upward trajectory. You know, the way he played last year. So he comes in, he should be 1 year wiser, 1 year stronger, 1 year better in technique, another year under this coaching regime. All right, like he gets a little bit more comfortable over there, and you know he could be ascending. You know, ascending like that. So I definitely think adding something there, especially because of the loss of Cosme. You know, he's going to be out for majority of the year. He's an offensive lineman, over 300 pounds. So, like, rushing back to play before the season starts is not advantageous to him because there's going to be a lot of pressure on that leg, right? So, you borderline got to get a replacement for him. Somebody that can be a starter, somebody that can be a quality starter, you know what I mean? And so that they can hold that down. And when he comes back, he's a plus at that point. You know, so for those reasons, I'm gonna go with that. But and yet agree with George.
What about you, Glenn?
Now, I'm torn between the two, man. I'm really torn.
It's tough. It is tough.
It's a tough one, right? You guys said offensive line. I think the offensive line does need some help. But we know that this team had the worst rushing defense in the league last year. And yes. We really look at it, and if you got to play Philadelphia twice, and Saquon averaged $150 every time he plays you, right? He averaged $150 every time he plays you. You have to be able to shore the defensive line up. I thought the offensive line was good enough this year to get them to the NFC Championship. Now, you have to do something with the defensive line. I know people say you got Deron Payne, you got Jonathan Allen, those guys were hurt. You got a Johnny Newton. Yeah, you need edge rushers, right?
You need game changers. You need game changers.
You need game changers on that defensive line. To me, it is important for the defensive line to get shored up first because you got to be able to stop the run in this league. If you can stop the run in the NFC East, you can win games. In the NFC, you can win games. When you got players like Bijan Robinson and you got players that you have to face, you got Saquon Barkley that you have to face. My God, what's the cat from the Giants ran on Washington this year? The backup cat, dude. I can't remember.
I forgot his name. Yeah, the rookie. Is he a rookie?
Oh,
yeah, he's a rookie.
Yeah, right? He ran on Washington.
And Tyrone
Tracy.
Tracy.
You know, for the Giants, you know.
Yeah, Tyrone Tracy.
Tyrone Tracy. Yeah, Tracy ran on Washington this year. So you have to be able to stop the run. And so Washington has to be able to show up the defensive line. So if I had to pick, I need them to show up the defensive line and work with the offensive line because you have young players like the Brandon Colbins, guys that can develop and move into those spots. And there are some offensive line free agents out there, right? You got Trey Smith who was out there, which is great. One offensive lineman I thought that Washington may be able to get, he retired today, Zach Martin, right? I thought that Zach Martin might have came from the Cowboys, might have came to Washington. But again, I understand protecting the franchise, but you can protect the franchise. They can put points up on the board. If you can't stop anybody, you can't win games. Defense win championships, and we saw that in the Super Bowl, right? We saw that in the Super Bowl. That defense, it wasn't the offense that won. The defense won the championship. So if it's me, I'm sure if I'm Adam Peters and all the guys, I'm shoring up the defensive line because I want to win a championship. And the Philadelphia Eagles showed us that defense wins championships.
I mean, I'll say, like, first of all, let me say, like, there's really no wrong answer here because you can go any which way. Let me keep it a bean. Like, Glenn had awesome points. George and Mo had great points in terms of you're going with the offensive line side of football. I would say just because what leans me to the offensive line is more like protecting Jaden, right? That's your prized possession. He is the golden goose, right? So at the end of the day, like typically when you have a franchise quarterback, that's typically the most important thing. And I do agree with like what Mo is saying, like it's wild, right, Mo? Because I do agree with you. Like Brandon Coleman for a rookie and a third round rookie as a left tackle, he was solid. Like you gotta look at where you drafted him. Like he's solid, but also at the same time,
that's upside.
It's upside. It is upside, but it's kind of like you don't know where you want to go with it because are you willing to bank on a guy, a third rounder, who's a left tackle? Who, again, for a third round dude playing left tackle, it's good. Like don't get me wrong, this is not a knock on him. So what I'm saying is not a knock on him, but sometimes you want more of the higher end type of player because you have Jaden Daniels back there. You know what I'm saying? Like because you have him back there, so you kind of want to make sure he the best that you can get to protect Jaden.
But do you want to spend the money that is going to take to get somebody better than the skill level that he's at, though?
Well, it's just depending on who's out there. No, I get what you're saying. Depending who's out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it all depending on who's out. There's nobody out there. Let's keep it a being. There's nobody out there right now, thoroughly. Maybe Stan, was it for the Ravens? He plays left tackle, right?
Ronnie Stanley.
Maybe Ronnie. All right, so maybe like a couple. But to your point, there's upside. So I'm not going to knock you. Like, you're right. I'm not going to knock it. There is upside there. But I'm just saying, like, as with this team, especially Cosme being out, like, you can make the argument, too. Like, hey, Cosme out. Coleman was graded. Some people graded him as a guard.
Right.
And we pushed him into guard now. Now you're going to have to look for you can look for a left tackle. So there's so many things but there's so many question marks on their offensive line. You got Algredi, who's I believe is going to be a free agent, who didn't show to be I don't think he's a front of the line starter, but was serviceable, but not a front of the line starter. Now you're losing. So you have two guards you'll probably be missing in the offseason. The right tackle situation, like we saw what happened with him towards the end of the season. Wiley, I felt like towards the end of the season he got exposed. So you're gonna have to try to upgrade that. So in terms of like the offensive line as a whole, there are so many pieces you have to fix. Like even if you say, and there's no shade on Coleman. Even if you say Coleman is the left tackle, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, he's the left tackle. Let's put that argument, and he's getting better. You still have holes every which way other than center because of Cosby being down. Like you have holes every which way, and you can't. And when you're playing against, we saw that team in the Super Bowl, that Eagles team. To George's point, when you saw that Eagles team in the Super Bowl, that defensive front. If you got that many holes, there's no chance. To me, there's limited chance for you to be that successful against that team with limited holes like they have on the offensive line.
That's a fact. That's a fact. But where the holes are at matters, though, right?
Yeah.
Like Philly's mismatch is Jalen Carter.
Yes.
Right? Philly's mismatch is Jalen Carter. So it depends. Like it really depends on where you want to.
Oh, where you at? And I'm saying where there and to your point, that section is where the hole. Go ahead, Mo.
You could say put Coleman over there, but if you put Coleman over there, Coleman's learning another position for the first time.
Yeah.
Like in a different part of let him progress in what he's doing. Right? Like you don't want to teach him, you don't want him to have to learn something new.
True.
When he showed upside, right? Yeah. When he showed upside, he shouldn't have to show you something new. Like he should try to build upon that and go from there. Because even if you move him there, now he has to deal with Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
When you play against Philly, right? And that's a mismatch regardless.
Yeah, but I'll say this.
Real quick, Al-Jetty's not a free agent, so he will be back.
He'll be back. No, he can be cut though. He's not. His contract is serviceable. Like it's not a real. He's like a one. Yeah. He can be cut. Like that's not. He's not. He didn't play well. To put like this, he didn't play well enough to keep his job. Let me say that much. To be honest with you, that's why I said replace him. Not as like where he can be replaced. But what I'm saying is, all right. But let's be real. Like tackles can play guard pretty easy. That transition is not that hard for tackles. We've seen there's a bunch of examples. There's a bunch of examples.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is if you put Coleman in, he has to learn a new position and he doesn't play up to the par that it needs to be able to defend Jalen Carter. You still now have three holes. Right?
I agree. I know what you're saying.
You've created his spot that was trending upward. You've made that a hole also.
But you're saying it. I get your point, but you're saying it as if all right, let's throw this out there. It's hard to block Jalen Carter regardless. All right, let's just not use that as an example. Jalen Carr was Jalen Carr.
You were talking about the Philadelphia.
No. But I'm saying like, but he would probably. But my argument, he was no, I'm with you, but he would still probably be better than what they have at guard for them. Like he would still be better at guard than some of the other individuals. Typically, I'm not saying it will work because I will say that the way he played tackle, we seen it everywhere, bro. Like Flowers wasn't Flowers. Let's use Flowers an example for the Giants. Comes to Washington, plays guard, is a way better guard than he is as a tackle. Didn't play it worth a lick. Was a better guard than he was as a tackle.
But he wasn't good at all at the tackle.
No, he was good. That 1 year with Washington, he was good. He was good. Oh no, he wasn't good. You're right. As a guard, he wasn't good at all. No, agreed. That's what I'm saying. The transition. What I'm saying to my point is, you're kind of making my point is, it's probably going to be easier for Coleman to be just the same thing with Cosme. It's the same thing as Cosme. Cosme was he wasn't a bad right tackle, to be real with you. He wasn't horrible. They just said, no, we're going to put you a guard. And then he became an all-world, like a Pro Bowl caliber guard. So I'm just saying, like, you can do the same with Coleman. But again, I know what you're coming from because it's still a valid point. What you're saying is like, all right, he plays solid enough at tackle. Doesn't need to push him out to the inside. Now the tackle position could be weaker, right?
Right.
I agree with you. No, I agree with what you're saying.
Now you have too many moving parts trying to
No, I get what you're saying.
That's my only I don't think you play with this equation too much.
All right.
Unless you're going to put premier people, like clear-cut premier people in those positions.
I agree with you. That's
right?
why
if you're going to put clear-cut premier people because you have money, then hell, go for it.
Yeah.
Like go for it, right? Because the money.
I mean, what you're saying, Mo, is you think you would not look favorably on, say, Washington taking a tackle at 29, putting him there, and then moving Coleman inside.
I wouldn't do that either.
Right.
No,
I wouldn't do that either. I wouldn't do that.
If I'm getting a guard, the best guard that's out there right now is Trey Smith for Kansas City, right?
And he's going to have all his suitors, though. You know what I mean?
Right. He's going to have everybody. He's going to have everybody out there.
So what's the bill on a Trey Smith? Because you gotta remember, right? Like the guard that comes in, you still got to account for Sam Cosme coming back. So
that's what I'm saying. I agree with that.
Right.
So you basically need a starter there, right? Yes. You basically need a guy that can be a starter.
Right.
And then because he has to play just as well as what Cosme you're trying to replace with Cosme, which solidifies that hole, right?
Very clear.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Very much.
So like you got to have one of those. And now you're telling me you're also going to need possibly a right tackle.
You're going to definitely need a right tackle.
Yeah, you're saying possibly, right? The guy's
up. So I'm pretty high. You need a right tackle.
So that's another expense.
Yeah.
Like it can't be no cheap replacement because like you said, like he can be cut, but like he played well until like about the end, right?
Yeah.
He played so like it's still okay, he could get better, maybe yada yada, some more continuity, whatever. That could be a thought. Right? That could be a thought.
You talking about Wiley?
Yeah. Okay. So like if he's still at that kind of level, it's going to require you to pay a certain kind of another bankroll also. So like where are we investing the money at in the offseason is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No,
you know I mean if I'm an organization.
It's where you want to spend the money at.
It's where you want to spend the money at.
And it goes back to what George is like, with George bringing up this topic. It's more like what do you want to really focus on? Do you focus on the defensive line or the offensive line because this is a good situation? I mean, not a good situation. It's a thing to really discuss on. It's like, all right, like Glen, great point. Let's keep it being like Glen's point is true.
Yeah,
like you saw it. Not even the games they won. You saw it. You saw it in the playoffs against Detroit. You saw Gibbs could do whatever. Yeah, Gibbs could do whatever he wanted. The only reason, like, it was Ben Johnson put the clamps on Gibbs, not Gibbs, like not the Commanders. So it's like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, and you saw it against the Eagles. Like, so at the end of the day, like that is a thing they have to fix. But on the flip side, there are moving parts. There's a lot of moving parts. It's like, what do you want to do? You hold on trying to completely fix the offensive line this season and say, you know what, we can wait till the year after? You know what I mean? The off season, the next off season after this one. Do you want to or do you feel like, or how close do you feel? Do you feel like if we take care of our defense, we can play around with our offense to a point where we can mask certain things? So it depends on how they feel about the situation. Because I'm with you, Glenn. Defenses do win championships. Like that's my belief.
Here's my question though. My question is, do you bring, because you got guys like Khalil Mack out there, right? Who may be a suitor. Do you bring a Khalil Mack in, right? And so over offensive lineman, right? Do you bring those
Paul said at least bring 3 starters on the offensive line.
So do you have those type of guys that are going to be out there in free agency? Do you bring a Reed over here to Washington over a offensive lineman, right? Mm-hmm. So those are the questions that Adam Peters and this front office have to make. They're gonna have to look at this whole thing in totality. We know the team that we saw this year is not coming back. It's not gonna be the same team.
No,
we know that we know that team is gonna change. The thing is, you got to talk about chemistry, because this team doesn't want to just go to the NFC Championship next year. They want to go to the Super Bowl, right? Because you're on the doorstep of the Super Bowl, and you can't make too many changes, and the nucleus of the team has to stay the same.
That's true. Glenn, well, Mo had something to say. Mo had something to say first, and then you go to you. Mo, you doing what? Are you good? Go ahead, George.
What is Trent Scott's piece of this puzzle, if he has one? How do we feel about Trent Scott? He's 31, man. He's 31. He's a free agent.
He's gone.
He's 31. And I love my HBCUs. He went to Grambling State. I root for that dude. But at the end of the day, he's 31, and he's a free agent. So it's no really desire. He can be back, but he's not as a starter. He's got to be a role player.
He could be back as like a stopgap.
I wouldn't have him. I wouldn't even do that.
Somewhere like that.
I ain't going to even lie to you. I wouldn't even have him do that. He would be a reserve. He could be a reserve.
Okay.
It's no knock on him at the age of 31 in terms of spending money, the amount of money they do have. You don't have to have, depending on what they want. One, it's a guard. All right, let me be real. I kind of be real too. It's a guard, dog. You could draft a guard in the late rounds. I'm not going to hold you. You can draft a guard in the 4th round, 3rd, 4th, and be a good, solid. There are guys you can draft as a tackle and transform them into guards. Not to say they're going to be all world, but they could be serviceable. If you really want to go that route. For guards, they could be serviceable. I'm not saying they got to be all world. They could be serviceable. And you may find a diamond in the rough.
But you're putting to chance.
No. I'm just saying. But actually, it goes to your point, though, Mo. Yeah, but it's actually to your point, though, Mo. It's if you think about it, you're not moving Brandon Coleman. You're just drafting. You're drafting a guard. You know what I'm saying? And you got to we got to be real. You trust the process of Adam Peters and how he's done well in terms of picking pieces. So I'm if that's the case, you can do that as well. It depends on what they want to do. I'm for building the offensive line. Because truth be told, you just gotta do the best for Jayden. That's how all I look at it. It's the best for Jayden. He is your franchise quarterback. You do what's best.
You brought up something last night on your show last night with DH that I think needs to be discussed here as well, and it's Brandon Scherff. You brought this up on your show last night.
He'll be cheaper. Yeah, Brandon Scherff, to me, that's a player too that's 33, played well in Jacksonville. You won't have to break the bank for him. And you know that he's a serviceable good player. And then it does fit Mo's timeline to a point where he's talking about you got room. He has to be a starter, a quality starter, which he is, older player. So you bring Cole once Cosby comes back, you know what I'm saying? Now you pretty much have, if you want to say, all right, you played well enough, we'll bump you Scherff to the other guard position, right? Then you can do that. Or if he's just playing service when your other guard's playing well, all right, we have you as a reserve, whatever. Because you're in the twilight. Yeah, you're still a solid guard, but you're not in your prime anymore. You know what I'm saying? So
would you draft a young guy like a Holland Pierce out of Rutgers, right? Would you draft a young guy? He's 6'8", went to Fort Union Military Academy down here in Virginia,
depending on his grade. From Rutgers. He's a drafted guard from Rutgers.
Yeah, he out of Rutgers.
What?
He's 6'8", dog.
God.
He's 6'8".
That's a big boy.
And the only reason I picked him, I want to talk about him because when you talk about tackles, right? You talk about tackles.
Yeah, he's a tackle going to guard. That's like Leonard Davis. That's like Leonard Davis.
Yeah, he's a tackle. So now he can play both. He's versatile. So if Cosby comes back and he learns, you can shift him out.
Depends on the grade. Just depends on the grade. Let's keep it being. It depends on the grade. And I like that size, but it depends on the grade. Because we did that. We did that with the
combine this weekend. That's why I'm mad because combine's coming up.
Yeah, I got you. No, I'm with you. That's what I'm saying. It depends on the grade. Just like we tried to do the same thing with the kid from Bama, that was local. I think it was Nigerian. Like the kid, what's his name? It was from Bama. He went to Bama. I can't forget. We pushed him inside. Or was his brother from Howard? One or the other. We pushed him on the inside. because he was big and tall, but he didn't work well as guard, though. He didn't work well. That's the one of very few that didn't really work out as guard. But I mean, yeah, it all depends on like the grade of that particular player. I do like stuff like that, though. Don't get it twisted. I do like having that verse. I do think they're into versatility too, like right. They're into versatility. So I do believe that if he goes in the combine, they say they like his film on tape. I haven't seen dude play, so I'm not going to be the one to act like I seen dude play. So,
right.
You know what I mean? But if they like him they like him in the combine. They like his tape and his film with that size. Sure, I believe they still got Chris Paul on the roster too, right? Similar dude too, like who Chris Paul was a tackle in college. They moved him to guard, so they got guys that fit that build that used to play tackle and they can play guard. But again, it's about the quality of play, though. To Mo's point, like, can you perform at the highest level doing that?
But
you know what I'm saying?
There's also too what we haven't talked about too. Also, does it fit in the Cliff Kingsbury system because he is coming back, right? Are we talking about the lineman that will fit into a system? Some of that screen game,
You got to be able to move.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to be able to move. So you got to be able to move and flow a little bit because he does a lot of screens. The guys, so we talk about the running game, right? Guys who are able to come off the football. Right, we saw later in the year when they had to shift some things because of injury. That combination wasn't coming off the football because Brian Robinson yards were down. Everybody want to blame Brian Robinson. It was not Brian Robinson's fault.
No push.
They couldn't get no push. Right, go back and watch some of the games. You see, it was not guys were in the backfield before the low line will actually get off. That's why if you go to the end, a lot of Jaden stuff was more of a quick game type situation. He was getting the ball out quicker. Out of his hands, and when he didn't get out quick out of his hands, he was taking off running, and we saw more of the screen stuff. So again, it becomes different things in when you look at the old line and that dynamic. Can they fit in Cliff Kingsbury's system? Are they versatile? Can they move? Because with the Washington Commanders offense, that you got to be able to shift with Jaden, right? Jaden moves around, and that line you got to be able to shift with him as well.
That's why. And I kind of want to go with because Mo had a good point that if you're gonna bring in a guy that you hope to move things around, you want a guy that you kind of have a good idea that's gonna play well, like a good idea. That's why I like what George reminded me about the Brandon Scherf. Why I decided talked about the Brandon Scherf reason why, because he talking about a 5-time Pro Bowler. He could be like a 5-time Pro Bowler, a guy, and it was like all pro. Great pedigree, right? Yeah, pedigree. And to Glen's point, when you talk about moving, what was the thing that he did in Washington that everybody liked about him? He moved. He will move. Like now, granted, obviously, Father Time. I'm sure he's not as fast. He's not as agile as he was when he was here in DC.
Injury questions too. Injury questions too.
With he always had a collarbone injury. He always had like a collarbone injury. But he's a guy that does he likes to pull, which fits Cliff. He's a guard that moves. He's a guy, and to be honest with you, speaking of what you're talking about, the Eagles, he has a nasty mentality. And the Eagles, like you watched the Eagles game with Washington, they were getting pumped. And Cosme has a nasty mentality. Yes. But Cosme didn't get to play against the Eagles, right? In that NFC Championship game, he was hurt. So you're not going to have him for most of next year, to be real with you, because when he blew his knee out. You know what I mean? So you're gonna probably miss him for most of a pretty chunk of the season. You're gonna be missing him. So like a guy like Brandon Scherf would be cool because you got a guy who plays an attitude. You got like Mo said, a guy with pedigree, and a guy for Cliff's offense. He does move. So I do think that in that regard, it would fit. But yeah, I think the offensive line definitely it can go either way. So I guess in this discussion then. Would you say that compared to the defensive line? Now we could say because of Jayton that we went the route because to protect Jayton, but would you say the offensive line, the players for players, it needs more work compared to the defensive line? And I'm gonna start with you, Mo.
I don't think the defensive line needs as much work as the offensive line.
Okay, right? Got you.
I think technically John Allen, right?
Yeah.
He'd be healthier.
Yeah.
Be a little bit more serviceable. Now you got Jazir Newton. He can start. He can come have a whole off season where he's actually.
That's a good point, man. That's true.
Getting himself, he's training and he's not rehabbing.
That's
right.
He's
training, he's not rehabbing. So he's supposed to be a somebody. Remember? Mm-hmm. So that was just last draft. So that's high capital that was spent on him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Then, if you Fowler had 10 sacks last year.
He probably. I mean, he's a free agent, so we'll see how that works.
Right. So like you re-sign him back, you keep some of the same core, right? You don't want to just bring in. Go ahead, Glenn.
Now, before I let you go, I'll let you know that all the pass rushes, all the edge rushes are free agents.
I
don't think Fowler's coming back. That's good though.
I
understand. I'm saying, but like
Colin Farrell, Fowler, all those edge rushes they brought in are free agents. But go ahead.
I'm not sure I want to bring any of them back. That's me.
Like I just thought that Fowler was the most deserving out of them.
Yeah, he is though. He's right. Yeah, you're right.
So you want to have some kind of continuity. I mean, Dorrance Armstrong came on towards the end.
I thought he played well. I thought Dorrance Armstrong was consistent.
Towards the end, but
he played well. Yeah, he played well towards the end.
Yeah. He was consistent.
He's going to be your number one DN? Nah.
Yeah.
That ain't really, even at his best, he ain't really like affecting the game like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's me giving him a great season for his whatever he's shown.
Right.
So like,
yeah, Santiago said gotta fix that defense for real.
You know what I mean? Like, so in the draft, you can get DNs. Because like Cleveland Farrell was a wash last year.
Yeah.
Like, but he hadn't shown anything prior to coming to Washington.
True.
Fowler was up and down, right? Fowler showed flashes. He's been in multiple spots. You know what I mean? Like, he's gotten like 10 sacks on like 3 out of the 4 teams he's played for, something like that. Like, he's always disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I think once everybody can just play and you can have the rotation you truly want, right? You definitely need to upgrade at the DN. At least one. You need a guy that can come in and play.
Yeah.
Right? You need a guy that can come in and like play a little better than Dorrance Armstrong.
Khalil Mack, dog.
Like somebody, like Khalil Mack can make sense.
I would say Khalil Mack in a second. Everybody know me. That's my number one option. Like it's Khalil. Yeah. I've said this until Paul said this, like this defensive line just needs a difference maker. You know what I mean? And I feel like Adam Peters will handle that in terms of you got to trade for somebody or whatever. I feel like that's a route.
Imagine if you got Khalil Mack, though. Let's say you got Khalil Mack, right?
Yeah.
Allen comes back, Payne is back, you have Newton. That's a rotation in the middle right there. Yeah. Right? And you can put Newton close on the end at times, right?
Yeah, you can try. Yeah.
You can do from time to time, right? Depending on situations and whatnot. Like, if you had one guy that can actually play,
you'll be better, definitely.
Yeah, it gives you a lot to play with. So
you're just hoping that you get
back to that versatility point.
Yeah, you're just hoping that you're getting the Khalil Mack, of like, you know what I'm saying? Like he was good last year. He was just hurt last year, so
yeah, it was good. But you also got a Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat is also a free agent. He'll pass.
Oh, I'm gonna take. How old is Josh Sweat though?
I don't know how old he is, but I know he's a free agent.
All right, so this is my thing. I'm gonna be real with you. This is how I look at this free agency for the defense, because I look at for defense. One, I'm all in for Miles Garrett. That's a whole different discussion. We're not talking.
That's all that
I'm all in for Miles Garrett.
Hassan Reddick too.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick's a good one too. He's a free agent, right?
Josh Sweat turns 28 next May 29th.
Oh, that's young. He fits the timeline. Yeah,
he's young. He fits the timeline.
But see, I don't know. It's crazy but that's that's Sweat. You see, this is the thing. It's hard to judge people who have like dominant interior dudes and see what they do outside of that. That is my problem. Like, I don't know. It's different when you're the guy, though. Like, I don't know. I've never seen Josh Sweat as the guy. So it's hard for me to say, like, is he good? Because he's solid. Like, I'm not going to, like, he's been in Philadelphia. He was good. He's been really good. But it's hard to determine, is he good because of the others are so dominant, or is he good on his own?
I think a little bit of both.
I think it's probably because the others are so dominant, he's still going to get a bag. And let's not forget.
Yeah, he's getting a bag.
Whatever we want to say about how good our ends pass rushed or not, I just want a defensive end that can set a damn edge.
Not edge.
I just want a defensive end that can set an edge and not have running backs running outside of us for big chunks of yards like happened pretty much the entire second half of the season.
Yeah.
We're talking about Khalil Mack, some of these other guys. We got to stop the damn run one way or the other.
Well,
and yes, the big money tackles have got to do better in that regard that Mo's always talking about, and rightfully so. But we also need some defensive ends that can set an edge and force some of these running backs back into traffic, because that was the problem against Saquon Barkley for us.
Mack had 6 sacks, but I believe he missed a few. He missed a number of games.
He missed some games.
That's what I'm saying. Like
He just had
that's 6 sacks. Huh?
He just had a hell of a year 2 years ago, though.
I know. That's 6 sacks with missing. I think he missed a number of games. Like, he missed a number of games. I can't. I want to say he missed like maybe 4 or 5 games, maybe 4 or 5 games, if that. But yeah, he was still disruptive. You could tell, like, he's still the best. He was the best defensive line player on their squad, like, by far. Even that's with Joey Bosa.
Nah, Joey Bosa been trash recently.
I know, right? He has been. I don't know what happened to him. Everybody, like, folks been trying to, but he can set the edge. Matt can't set the edge though. Mac is a versatile player though. But again, I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say I've been watching a bunch of Khalil Mack games of late because, like, I watched enough of him when he was in Oakland. I mean, whatever you want to call it, Vegas, Oakland, whatever. I watched enough of him over there, but I don't know if he's the same Khalil Mack that we talked about that was on the same wavelength as Aaron Donald. I don't know who's the same Khalil Mack because that dude was on the same wavelength as Aaron Donald when he was wrecking shop. Mm-hmm. Eric Hunter said, O-line for sure got to protect that future MVP. I personally think Allen and Payne have some bright years ahead personally. Got to play better. You know, Payne got to play better. He's got to play better. I thought Allen showed heart and played some improved football in the postseason. But Payne got to be better. To Mo's point, man, you got paid the bag and you can't be ordinary, bro. You can't be ordinary. Like,
I wonder what Adam Peters is going to say when we get to draft time, because we know that this is a very deep class for defensive tackle.
Jorge? What's good, Jorge?
So we wouldn't. I don't think any of us would be shocked if Adam Peters takes one. Maybe not in round 1, but in round 2 or 3, or even round 4. I don't think we'd be surprised to see a defensive tackle because there's just so many good ones in this draft. It's I mean, that's the best position in this draft, right? Is there that many good ones? That and running back.
I know, like, we're just talking about, like, with a D tackle. Oh, he was one game due to a groin that slowed him down.
Yeah, it was one game.
That's it. Oh.
Yeah. Just look at just one game where he didn't get a tackle.
About that, he's still making Pro Bowl, man. He's not just. He just didn't get.
I know. You're not going to hear me bad talk.
He had 17 sacks 2 years ago.
You go. I know. I like Khalil Mack. You're not going to hear me be that person.
But go to George's point. George, get the D tackle. You got to realize. Get into a D tackle. You got to go to. We got to understand that Jonathan Allen only has 1 year left on his deal, right? He has 1 year left on his deal, so you have to get somebody else that comes behind him. Are you sold on Johnny Newton, or do you need to bring somebody else?
Johnny Newton, though, come on, Glenn. Like,
it's John. Yeah, he is the.
It is Johnny Newton. Like, we don't even got to play them games.
Hold on. A lot of you look. I understand, right? But Johnny is a little undersized, right? He is a little undersized for D tackle. And then we saw what Johnny Newton did. Let's be honest, Johnny Newton and Payne together this year was the worst defense against the run. He could get better. I'm going off just fact. He can get better.
My man Eric got a question for you. I answered this yesterday.
Because this one's all your fault, Wole, because you
answered yesterday.
No.
I answered yesterday. I'm gonna answer it again. But I'm gonna let my man everybody else on the panel do it first, and then Paul with me too, so I already know. But I'm gonna start with my man Mo. Mo, would you
do what?
Read the question, bro.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Hey, I already know what Glenn said. No, hey George, well, how about you, bro?
That's what I think.
All right, so let me go ahead now. Let me.
Hold on. The way I want to answer it is this way.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
When you get rid of cancer, do you want it back?
I mean, that's what you call it. All right. George said, dang. All right, so let me put it this way.
Even I wouldn't go that far.
Look,
damn.
Eric, I know. Glenn got something with this dude, but that's okay though. I'm different because I'm different though. So let me go ahead and put it this way. This is how I would phrase it. I know Glenn got right, Paul. Like, he over the top. I know. So let me rephrase it this way.
Oh my God.
Let me phrase it this way, for real. If Adam Peters wants to sign Chase Young, I got no issue with it. And none of you you shouldn't either, bro. If he wants to sign him, you should have an issue with it. That's all I'm gonna say. Because Adam Peters knows better.
U Street legend, Wole.
And U Street, PG Count, that boy know me in U Street. That boy now he on U Street.
So
okay, what was it? You called him
you go back to old girlfriends too, right?
Huh?
If old girlfriends want to come back, you bring them back.
Depends how she looking.
Oh, wait a minute. I have heard you talk
what you
about
talking about? What are we doing here? Depends how she looking.
U Street or DuPont or what was it?
Oh, no, U Street. Oh, no. I said probably. I called him a U Street legend.
You called him some street legend, Chase Young, and well, I presuming that
I know I called him something, but I don't know. It'd be on U Street.
I know you did because I've heard enough of your shows. I know you've talked about that.
I called him something. I don't know if it's U Street though. I think probably called him something.
All jokes aside, we talk about setting the edge. That dude doesn't set no edge.
He said the edge better than freaking Wilson. Yes. He said the edge. He said the edge better than Fowler.
No, that
dude said the edge better than Fowler.
No, he sets the edge when he wants to. I want to
play that. See, look again. All right, you know what? All right, now I'm gonna have this discussion. Now I'm gonna have this discussion. I was trying to get away from it, but now I gotta be in it.
I said it before everybody else, and y'all laughed at me. That dude take plays off, and his technique still sucks.
All right, so now giving him the bag. All right, so now let me get into this discussion. Now let me get this because I was waiting for this. I wasn't trying to go here. Who put the Chase Young chat in here? Who did that? Paul, you did too, or somebody else did. That. So one, Paul, you know you're going back. This is one. He'd be a role player. That's one. He'd be a role player. I'm not looking at him as a rotation dude. I'm talking look as a rotation dude. That's one. So a rotation dude, I ain't really worried about because he's not a starter. He's a rotation dude. Secondly, who do I talk? Why do we gas this team up compared to the other regime? Why do we gas this team up compared to the other regime? Why do we?
Because they got a strong culture.
I get you answer your question.
Coaches,
right? All right. So all right, coaching. So you hold somebody accountable, right? If you're on a 1-year deal, you hold somebody accountable, right? They're on a 1-year deal, you hold somebody accountable, and they're not doing. And we saw it already. If you're not doing the work, what's going to happen?
You ain't gonna be here.
Exactly. So if you bring somebody in and you bring him in because of sheer talent and sheer talent, you bring him in and he works and doesn't do what you're saying he does, and he works and works hard and puts on effort, you wouldn't keep him on? Because you're talking about taking plays off. You think Daryl Tapp's gonna let him take plays off? And be on the team? And be on the team?
Tapping a play. He ain't gonna make out a training camp.
No. If he gets on this team and he's in camp and he's not hustling, you think Daryl Tapp's they're gonna say, you know what? You can stay on this team?
No, they're not.
So that's what I'm saying. So why not? Why is it? If you're saying that he's not hustling with this staff, like so, knowing what this staff is, this staff. We're not talking about Rivera and them who's gonna let you slide. We're talking about this staff. If he ain't working hard, he'd be a dummy not to work hard when he's with this staff because he would get cut. They trade in first round picks easily. They releasing first round picks. They released the second round picks. So they already sent the message. So if they were interested and if he was interested to come back home, which I'm gonna say this, he ain't interested to come back home. I can already tell you. I'm gonna be real with you. This is not gonna happen. So let me throw that out there. That kid is not interested to be in this area with the radio here and everything. He is not for this town, in my opinion. That's in my opinion. But if this team is interested. If he's interested and he is signed here, it would only be on a 1-year deal. It wouldn't be a multi-year deal. It'd be a 1-year deal. So you're getting a 20-year-old dude, 20, not even 30 yet, former defense rookie of the year, Pro Bowler in that year, 2020. You're getting that player on a 1-year deal to be a role player. You wouldn't do that?
If I have to teach him how to become a better player, no. I want somebody to come in that already knows the stand. Because look what they brought in.
Dante Fowler. Let me put it like Dante Fowler has been a journeyman. I'm gonna be real. Dante Fowler has been a journeyman and hasn't been an impact. Has been a bust for multiple years and got an opportunity. And we want Dante Fowler on this team because of 1 year.
Dante Fowler knew how to conform.
No. I don't think Chase Young can. I don't think know how to conform. You just said that he got the opportunity to conform. Am I correct?
Yes.
So you're saying so?
Chase Young can conform.
But you say that's again. You don't think he can conform.
Not in this city. It's too many distractions in this city. Not in this city. I don't think he can conform because there's too many distractions in the city. He may be able to conform somewhere else because he's not used to it. But you bring him back home and ask him to conform and to lock in. He can't lock in the city because there's too many distractions.
Well, then he was. Then again, I'm just saying when you got again, that's going to affect you if you have this team, the staff this team has. If that is the case, you're out early. That's all I'm saying. You will not survive with this staff if that's the case. That will be that. That's not a problem. That's going to impact your season. Know why? Because you'll be cutting the off, and you'll be cut in training camp. That's the point. Like that's my point. Like he won't make it to the season if that's his dude. He wouldn't make it if he even made it towards past preseason and camp and got on the regular roster. If he showed that, he would get cut. That's my point. With this regime, you got to earn your keep throughout. You got to earn it. So he's going to have to be playing week to week, earning it. That's why I'm like, that's when I say I don't have an issue with him coming back, because I know if he don't hustle on the backside, he don't do any of that stuff, he's cut. And he's a role player. I'm not looking for you to be an everyday player. You're a role player, a rotation dude. You think we worry about Farrell? You think Farrell better than him?
No, Farrell's not better than him. No.
All right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just saying, like, if you play to your point, if you play lackadaisical, you're getting cut.
Yeah.
Look, I like Ferdarian Mathis. I heard he was lazy at times. That's why he got cut. And I thought he played well. They cut him.
True.
They cut him for a dude that's on the practice squad.
Yeah.
Sheldon
So
Day.
then like that lets you know already. If you bring in Chase, if they did bring in Chase to help this, they did bring in Chase for a 1-year deal. That's all on him. Because if you don't play well, you cut. And it's not like you're saying we're depending on Chase to be the every down defensive end. No. Teams were doing that with Clowney to a certain point. He had to earn it.
Yeah. I give you that. Clowney had to earn it.
He had to earn it. What happened? And B More, he changed his fortunes.
Right, because he had the same stigma as Chase Young.
There you go. Coaching means a lot. I mean, not coaching, like not coaching. I like to your point, Glenn. Self-drive does.
Clowney, y'all.
Wait,
don't do that to Clowney, y'all.
No,
Clowney, bro. Clowney was like.
Hold on, Mo. Look,
Clowney had made a Pro Bowl in Houston, man. Clowney had led the team in sacks. Like,
Chase Young made a Pro Bowler his rookie year.
Hey, Wole, were you there? I seen Clowney. When Clowney came to Washington a couple years, I think it was 16, 17, when they had the group practice with Washington.
Yeah, he fried.
He ain't put in work, Mo. I see. Okay, Clowney didn't put in work in like that.
He ain't put in the work?
No, he didn't put in the work like that to get.
He should be better. He should have been better.
He should have been better than that. But he had to get with a staff that pushed him and made him do better. Right? So there's some guys that need that motivation, the young guys. Then after you get older, you have that self-motivation. Because when you realize that you're almost out the league and you still got to pay them bills, that motivation.
Everybody know if folks know I like Clowney, because I think Clowney's the one of them dudes almost similar to certain term like the Chase, where he gets close but never brings dudes down sometimes. Like he'll get a lot of hurries though. He'll get a lot of pressures. Like Clowney get a ton of pressure.
He gets closer, like, and he makes.
Bro, he's like it's similar. It's similar. Could they get they both get like 7 sack years? They both got.
Clowney had a bunch of 9 sack years.
They both they about 7, 8. They're about the same. They're not that far.
Clowney got 9 sack seasons.
Nah, that's in Baltimore. That was his most. Like 9. Like was the most he's had. Not in Baltimore.
Yeah, like 9 early in Houston.
Bro, he don't get that. Bro, like real talk. They're not far off. Go Google it. They're not that far off in consistency, bro. They're not that far off. Like Chase had 5.5 last year. What did Clowney have last year? Chase had 5.5. What did Clowney have last year? In Carolina, he's in Carolina, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think.
Chase had 5.5. Two of those came against Washington. I
think 3 or something. He fried Washington.
He had 5.5 yesterday.
Thank you, bro. 5.5, right? Clowney had 5.5. They're the same, bro. I'm sorry to tell you, they're about the same now, but they're about the same. I like Clowney. They're about the same. Like, no, I'm being real. You just didn't like. I'm telling. Look them up. Look the rest.
Clowney's been all pro.
When he been all pro? What year?
Clowney was all pro. Like
when? What year? No, for real. What year was he all pro?
He was all pro second team.
Second. What year? How many sacks did he get that year, bro? Like real talk. When was this?
2016.
How many sacks did he get that year?
He had 3-time Pro Bowler in a row.
Wait, how many sacks did he get that year, bro?
9.5.
Dog, we're 9.5 is and we're gassing that up for real. That's what I'm saying. Like you acting like, come on, man. Come on, man. They're not far off, bro. Like I know you want to I know you're trying. They're not far off. They're not far off. They're not far off, bro. If you were telling me he was getting like 10 sacks or 12 sacks, I'll be with you. If you say he put up Brian or Rackpo numbers, I'll be like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I love Clowney. Look, dude, he built his aura off what he did to Michigan. I love Clowney. Like, I love Clowney. Like, I root for Clowney all the time. All the time. When he's in B-more, I was happy for him. But they're not far off. Like, those two they're very comparable.
Yeah.
They're very
comparable. I mean, like, I just haven't seen what's the name play it. I haven't seen him play at Clowney's level. When Clowney's
it's just the knee injury, though. That's just the knee injury. That first year, he was at Clowney level. Yeah, he was.
How come nobody says that COVID season?
Huh? See, I don't do that. See, I don't do that COVID stuff because everybody play. Play. If I play you in the same season, what is it different?
Oh yeah, I'm not knocking it.
I play. That's why I don't do that COVID. I play you. If I play, if I play against Mo and we still play the same every year, the same, like, is that different? Mo, I'm going competing against you. Why makes it different? Why is it because crowds are out? Crowds ain't in there. That makes it different.
Yeah, well, it does. It makes it tougher for defense, I think.
It makes it tougher for defense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
That's a weird season, though.
I'm saying it's a weird season, but I'm still competing. I'm competing against you. How many games they play that year? 16?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's a season.
Yeah,
it's a season. That's why. Now, if you're telling me that like the quarters were shut down a little bit, like the quarters were shut down, or you playing half a season or something like that, then I would be with you. But if I'm competing, like they still went against and actually they're probably impacted more. They had to get their Commanders had to have Taylor Heineke as quarterback when they played Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Just saying. Like, I don't that COVID stuff, like, nah, just don't like if you play well, you play well. Let's see. Oh man, thanks, man. Thank you, Jorge. Appreciate that.
Appreciate that. Much love, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Like Paul said, I feel that Quinn. Why'd you change this to a Chase Young show? Why? I wasn't even trying to do that. That's why I didn't want to discuss it. George, I blame you. I blame George. I'm
gonna get off Chase. I ain't gonna say nothing.
No, I blame George. I mean,
you brought it up last night. You saw the reaction that got last night in the chat.
Look, I'm still getting off some chats. I'm getting like 50-50 stuff, man. I love it. I feel that Quinn can get the best out of Chase. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he could too. Paul, stop talking about Chase, man. I'm done with Chase. Miles is more likely to play for Detroit or Philly. I know you're gonna say that.
Oh, don't stop.
He better not go to Philly.
He better not go to Philly.
He not. No, what? No, because I read something that Washington is the lead in getting him. That's what people think.
Cannot go to Philly.
Now, will he come here? I don't know, but he's talking like. Now, I will say Detroit is that's not a bad one.
Detroit's not bad. Him and Hutchinson.
Yeah,
oh, that'd be nasty. That'd be nasty.
That'd be nasty.
You know what I'm saying? Eric said, my first time watching y'all. How often y'all get on? Oh, I appreciate it. We here every Thursday at 9:30. The same time.
The same time. Eric.
The same exact time.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah, yo, hit that bell notification so you know when you pop on.
Facts.
Exactly.
Bell notification.
Jorge said, can you imagine Myles Garrett in 8? That'd be wild.
That'd be crazy.
I'd rather not if I was the quarterback that had to face him.
That would be wild. But yeah, I think like in terms of the defense though, like they're gonna have whatever they do, they're gonna have to fix that up ASAP. Yeah, like that D line. You know what I'm saying? I think somebody had a question about McGee. Oh yeah,
I'd love to be in them meetings where some of the defensive coaches are talking to Adam Peters and talking about what they needed.
McGee,
let me answer this question for Coach Lon. Yeah. So Coach, the staff are in. I'm gonna put it this way: like the staff is in love with McGee.
Just about to say,
I'm a big McGee fan.
They believe that he is the truth. Now, how that pans out, I don't know. They believe he is the truth. I mean, you may doubt his talent, but they believe he's the truth. Like that's
what I'm saying. Everybody said that every time Dan Quinn is asked about McGee, his eyes light up.
He get hyped.
He get hyped about McGee. You know, when I said we talked about the D line and we talked about Payne and Allen, and I said it earlier, and I want to ask you guys this: do you get rid of one of those guys to bring in younger guys and fresher talents? Because again, Allen has 1 year left. All right, and so we talk about showing up the D line. Is it time? Is it time to get rid of the Alabama wall?
Mo, you can go first.
Let them finish it out.
I agree, Mo.
You got Newton. You know, as a Newton can battle for one of those positions if one of them if it's BSing or whatever, or it just ain't living up to what they can do. And so that's an upgrade right there. They're all healthy. You know, people got stuff to play for. Newton got to play for a spot. Allen for extensions and things like that. Payne so that he doesn't get cut. You know what I mean?
Need depth.
So you add a backup piece to that, and they pretty set there. You know what I mean? So I think just leave that together and you let that play out for this year, because that should be serviceable enough to bring internal pressure.
Agree.
And play the run. You know what I mean? Like, so you fill in the team all the way around them, like them DNs that you guys are talking about, right? Or like you get that premier DN, and now you got some action because double teams have to go one way.
That's what I'm talking about. See, Mo get it. That's what I'm talking about. See, that's what it is. It's about bringing in that pass rusher who warrants a double team, who truly warrants a double team. Now, because we always hear about those two dudes are getting double teams. Well, obviously they're not doing a good job beating double teams, right? Let's just like call it for what it is. Like, I'm gonna just be real. Like, it is what it is. So now if you can get a pass rusher who warrants a true double team, that's why people like Fowler, like, because those two are getting double teamed, the interiors are getting double teamed. That's why Fowler was able to eat a little better, or Dorrance Armstrong was able to do a little do decent work. They're getting double teamed, right? So they're taking the L. But all right, but you still want them dudes to win, even being double teamed, right? Because that's what you paid them for, right? But if you can get a guy at a high level, a high pass rusher, it makes them two way better. That's why, to a point where I'm with Mo, there's no need to really try to like let those guys go, because if you get the pass rusher, them two dudes are supposed to be better, and if they're not better, that's a whole different question. If Jerzon isn't better because of that, that's a whole different question. You know what I mean? That's either individual or scheme. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Because you can rate and say those three dudes are talented. They've all had success in the NFL. I mean, well, two have had success in the NFL, and one is a guy that everybody deems is super talented, right? Now, they're still struggling in the system, and you got a pass rusher, then that's a discussion that we need to have. Is it the individual or is it the scheme? You know what I mean? That's another discussion. But I'm with Mo. I'm not replacing. There's no need to replace them. Let them finish this contract out. If you have a trade it's good, beneficial for you,
middle of the season,
do it. Definitely.
He has something to play for.
Yeah.
Last year on the contract, he needs something.
Facts.
So you have a two-way goal right there with his motivation. You see what he did to come back and play in the playoff game.
Yeah.
So he about it, right?
Yeah.
You know he want to stick around, so he should have an off-season to rehab and do whatever he got to do and come back better. He's fighting for something. He has a kid that's trying to take his spot. Deron Payne is next to him. You just get the DN, and they can figure that out.
Allen's happy with. I've seen him talk about Johnny a lot, right? He's happy to train him, teach him. He loves the kid. Said the kid has a great upside. Everything's been positive about him. Wole, you said something a few minutes ago, and I know we are still on a question. How much is a scheme, or is it the defense itself?
I don't know. That's a good question. Like, to me, it's because I feel like them. All right, as much as like we want, I would say this was like the worst season them two dudes played together.
They handle consistency.
Yes. There was, and I don't know, and I'm trying to figure that out, like, together. You know what I mean? Because I felt like, like we've never been that bad interior in terms of stopping the run. That's always been a thing. Like, defensive said, like it's tough to. I mean, offensive always said it's tough to run inside against Washington. Like, they've said that with those two, the Bama wall. Like, we gotta block them a certain way. We gotta do this. So and it's never been that bad. Now, have the defense been bad as a whole? Yes. In the past, it has, but it hasn't been that bad inside. You know what I mean? Like last year, it was horrible inside. Like, Mo's right. They may have not gotten the sacks, but this year, they weren't even, the way teams are running inside was different. But it was different.
But to your point, though, it took him a while to get to the point. To your point, it took him a while because they didn't play preseason, right? At all.
Yeah.
Right.
Which was a mistake.
But by the time you got to the Baltimore game, they were doing better together. If you go back to the game, they were doing better together. Football, though, then Jonathan Allen, they were doing better together. And Allen got hurt.
True, that's a good point.
Right? When Allen started getting together with when they came back, when Allen came back, it was picking back up because Payne started doing better, right? Then Payne goes out. So for that point, they didn't really play with each other that much last year, except for maybe 3 or 4 games.
Yeah,
right?
but as a
Glenn?
whole, they were still giving up over 4+ yards a carry as a team. So I don't know. Like it's again, I don't know. Like Glenn, they're good points. Like continuity is very important. And like they were taking, they didn't play. I don't know. Preseason, they weren't playing a lot. They weren't playing a lot in preseason, right?
They hardly played at all. I wasn't happy with.
It's a good point. I just think that when they were out there together, they still weren't like the Tampa game. They weren't good. Well, that's the beginning of the season. So to your point, Glenn, the Ravens game, I mean, Derrick Henry still thrashed them. He had over 100+ yards. Like I don't know how to. This team was still giving up a lot of rushing yards. Like I can't
near the bottom in yards per carry.
Yeah, they were still bad. You know what I'm saying? And even
I want to answer Glenn's question this way because when you invited me to join this show a year ago, one of my predictions was this offseason, one of these guys was getting traded. I thought it was Jonathan Allen.
Yeah.
And I thought that when Jonathan Allen got hurt against the Ravens, I don't know if I was the first one to say it, but I was one of the first people to say I think Jonathan Allen's played his last snap for Washington because I didn't think there's any way in the world he was going to come back. And he did. And the fact that that Dan Quinn noted that several times and spoke positively on it totally changed my thinking. That said, if there was a robust trade market for either of them, I would trade one of them this offseason. But there's not. And part of that is because defensive tackle is arguably the strongest position in the draft. So even if there were teams that were kind of interested in Allen or Payne, they're looking at this draft and seeing all these great defensive tackles saying, why the hell are we going to do that? We'll just go get one in the draft. So I think they're kind of forced to play it out the way Mo talked about. And I would hope we wouldn't be trading one of them at the deadline because that would make me think we're actually not doing too well next season.
Right.
But at the same time, they need some fresh blood in that spot because Allen and Payne have got to prove because right now, both of them are underperforming their contracts. You can argue that Allen at the end of the season showed you enough that you can give him another chance. But I'm with Mo on Payne. He is not playing up to his contract. And he's got to do it quick or they're going to have to do something about him next year then.
If that's the reason I would say this, I do want to jump in. Like, I wouldn't trade back to what Mo was talking about. The reason why I wouldn't trade, it's got to be the right. If they had to trade, it would have to be a deal where they're getting a spectacular player in return. I'll be real with you. It's not Glenn. Like Mo is right. Mo is right. Like truth be told, the way they're functioning, the way their team is comprised, like they're getting the double team. We're talking about the stopping the run. I'm going stopping the run. I'm already on the side like Payne is overpaid. Like I'm on that side. But because he's not doing it as a dual threat defensive tackle, like he has moments where he stops the run, but you got to with that money, you got to be poor man Aaron Donald-ish. I ain't want to call you you got to be poor man Aaron Donald-ish. You're not that. So he's
not even like Cam Hayward though.
But you know what I'm talking about. You just know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, before you throw your little 2 cents in, you know what I'm talking about. So I don't know why you're adding your 2 cents in. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't be extra, bro, just to be extra. But anyway, like I was saying, but you get a defensive end, and if you have to trade one of them to get a defensive end, that's what you do. Like to get a defensive end that warrants double teams, that's what you do. You don't just trade for a new body because the new body may not be good. Like I may say trading for that young player, but they may not be good. That young player may not be good. You got to trade him for a player that's is going to get money. Like that's the type of player you like. He
ain't worth trading for anybody for that.
Who?
Payne.
No, I'm paying if you're packaging him with something else.
Packaging him.
Not alone, bro. Like, look, I know you. Look, I know you want to jump on the. I know what you're trying to do.
I'm not going to do that.
I know what you're trying to do.
I was just asking for clarity.
Like I was saying, like if you want to package it with a package deal, like you know what I'm saying. But I think I'm with Mo. Like you get a defensive end because that makes everything different in terms of what's being done. Like because if you do that, then you're gonna have a hole in defense end. So now you bank on this young dude to do what? Like this dude you trade for, like a new body. Like you draft a D tackle. Everybody was thinking Dejan was going to change the world. So if say this D tackle comes in and does the same, and it's not knock on Dejan, it could take him a year or a couple years. Like Mo said, he came into the season hurt. So now, so say you go into the season, you say you draft a D tackle, you think he's gonna be the next big thing. He may have those rookie struggles. Doesn't mean he's gonna be great in year 3 or year 4. Look, we drafted Mathis in the second round. Did he pan out? See what I'm talking about? You can get a body if you want to. Doesn't mean they're gonna pan out. So I'm going with most points. Like it's better off getting a tackle, getting an end, and then seeing how that works with them too, because they still should be good enough to do some damage with a defensive end that's getting doubled. And it frees them up for one-on-ones.
Because Doran's definitely gonna set the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the
something to think about, man.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's wrong. What did Paul say? Yeah, one gets traded for only and draft pick. And draft picks. Yeah. I totally agree with that. That's what you try. You gotta package them. You package them with top tier draft picks and see if that works. That's how I would do it.
The Browns ain't taking no big contract back in the Myles Garrett deal because they can't afford it.
What are you talking about? I mean, he said Crosby too, though. So,
Crosby might be a different situation. I don't know.
The Browns just decided they're about to give him a sizable contract offer because they don't want to trade him.
I know they don't want to.
He's about to be like the second highest paid player in football behind Micah.
Ronald said if you trade Payne or Allen, it's to trade away their salary. Agreed. That means accepting a 6th-round pick. I don't think that's happening. Yep, I agree with that.
No, I agree with that too.
I agree with that. It's to lose the salary.
He said a 6th-round pick.
Yeah. He's facts, though. I ain't argue. Because he's trying to get rid of the salary. I ain't mad. I think he'd get like a 4th-rounder, though. I ain't going to say it.
I know. I was talking about how y'all was
I know. Maybe it's 4th-rounder. That's a little bit OC. I ain't going to hold you. I had to think about that. I had to think about it.
You got a third for Chase? You don't get a third for Payne or Allen?
I mean, Chase was on a rookie deal still when we traded him, right?
They're much older, though.
Who?
Payne and Allen than Chase was.
They're much older, yeah. They're much older.
Payne's going like year 8, year 9, ain't he?
Shoot, Payne may be. Allen's the older one.
Like year 8.
Allen's the older one.
Yeah, Allen's like
play. Payne showed glimpses of what he can do, and he did perform last year, not terribly.
I mean, Allen has had Pro Bowl. Allen has had also more consistent good years than Payne.
Yeah. To
be real, like you want to use that, like Allen has been like, other than the last 2 years, Allen has been really good.
I want to go back to what Paul said about it being a scheme. Let's presume that we do keep Allen and Payne. Does Joe Witt have to totally revamp his scheme for how he deploys this defensive line to get the best out of the two of them? Is that what we're talking about? Is kind of an overhaul of how he's going to do defense? At least that part of the defense.
He's 27. Hey, Mo, he's 27.
It may be something to that. It may be something to that scheme thing because when he was in Dallas last year, their D tackle didn't play well. Mozzie, whatever. And then this year he played a little better. Like this year he showed flashes that he's.
Who Payne?
No, the kid Mozzie that plays for the Cowboys.
Yeah, the one they're talking about. The one they're talking about, yeah.
So I was saying that maybe it is something with the scheme because Mozzie didn't play well under Joe Witt. But this past season, he played a little better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He played like substantially better to the point where they were like, okay, like they gotta think about picking up his option and things like that. So maybe there is something to that. Because now it's the reverse. He came here, and this D tackle tandem in the middle isn't that well against the run either.
Yeah, because they were bad. You're right. You know what? Because I mean, Joe Witt wasn't like Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator last year, right? Like for Dallas. But you're right though. Like in that system, they were horrible against the run up the middle. You're right. They were. And now you got two guys who were typically good run stoppers, and now teams were able to run up the middle. Like it was a thing. Teams were running up the middle against Washington.
Grady
Jarrett, you know what? That's it. Huh?
Grady Jarrett went downhill too in Atlanta for a little while under the same people
system. Yeah. So it could be. It definitely could be scheme. It could be scheme. In terms of stopping the run, it could be scheme. Because I do think that, like from my vantage point watching it, I feel like they utilized they were like their defensive tackles to like rush up more rather than contain. That's how I look at it. I don't know why I think that way.
But then again, why? I mean, the run game is just effort, though.
That too, but it's never been but if you are, I mean, you do it in terms of lining them up. It is kind of different, dude, too, depending on how you line up your defensive line. You know what I'm saying? There's certain vulnerabilities on your defensive line the way you line them up. It depends how you want to play it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Like to your point, like I don't know if it's scheme. I just know that the pattern is they weren't like, again, we can make the argument about them not getting sacks, but they were never like this bad at stopping the run. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Like they were never this bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they were Jalen Carter or anything like that, but I'm just saying like against the run, they were together. They were formidable together, stopping the run. Because typically, sometimes when you sub them out, would be some of the issues. But then again, but they had more depth back then. They would have Ionitis, or they would have what's the kid from Virginia Tech? The kid from Virginia Tech they used to have.
He just got traded.
You know what I'm talking about? Kid from Virginia Tech, the D tackle.
No.
You remember the kid they used to have? Like he was depth dude. Virginia Tech. Oh, what's his name? Good God, it's gonna come to me. He played for Buffalo too. Thank you, Tim Settle. Thank you, Tim Settle. Thank you. So they had more depth.
Yeah.
So back.
Ionitis was good. Ionitis was great.
And then obviously you had what's name last. You had what's name last year too. That they had the year before last year. That God went to Saints. They traded him to Saints for that third round pick.
Oh, Ridgeway.
So, but yeah. I'm kind of thinking it's scheme. I mean, but I ain't gonna lie, I ain't the biggest Joe Witt dude, so I could say scheme. I'm not the biggest Joe Witt dude.
I mean, it's all under DQ's umbrella, so.
Say what? It's
all under DQ's umbrella, so it's consistent.
It's consistent, though. It's consistent.
It's all under DQ's umbrella.
Yeah, I agree.
DQ's gonna rate one of his guys in. I mean, somebody he likes. I can imagine there's a guy from Dallas. It's a Nigerian, Osai.
That's what he's talking about. That's what Mo was talking about, right?
That was Mo talking about, yeah.
The D tackle, right? Mo was talking about the D tackle.
You talking about the D tackle, the Nigerian from Dallas?
Is that what you're talking about?
Mozzie, yeah. The one that was playing real well. They started playing well.
Woozie or something like that.
Yeah.
No, that's the Woozie is the what's his name?
No, this dude's like OSA, Azayo.
You talking 97, right? He's Nigerian. I forgot. I gotta see his name.
He's Nigerian, whatever. So he's a Dan Quinn guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
that's the one they're talking about bringing him. He's a D tackle. He's a
D tackle. He's a free agent. So he's the Dan Quinn guy from Dallas. So he may come as well. So Dan Quinn like bringing his guys. I mean, just look at last year's team. Most of those guys were Dan Quinn guys.
He likes his guys. So
the fact
he likes his guys. Like I mean, like any coach, you know what I'm saying? Like you like that folks who play well with you. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, oh boy, did they Noah? You know Noah. Noah was another. Let me
stop being disrespectful. Sorry. They're Joe Witt guys. I'm just joking.
They Dan Quinn guys.
We know they all Dan Quinn guys, man. You know we are. Well, I know. I was just messing around.
He goes. Ronald said, "I could see Dallas having genuine interest in Payne. It's possible. I can see that too.
I can see that.
But give me Micah Parsons. You can have him. Give me a first round pick and Payne. Give me Micah Parsons.
Hey, Parsons wants to come to DC anyway.
Give me a first. I'll give you a first round and Payne. You give me Micah. We good.
Dallas ain't taking that deal.
We good.
They'll get rid of Dak Prescott before they get rid of Michael Parsons.
I'll give y'all a first round pick and Payne, and we good. Just like the Quinn's defense versus the run. I'm happy to criticize over years, but in Seattle, he was good in Seattle. In Seattle, his D line was good in Seattle. But that was different though. That was a different animal though. Seattle was a different animal. And that was like more their defensive line was definitely a bunch of rotational dudes that just played hard.
Well, but they also had a strong back half. And
that's true.
They had a strong back half, so
you allowed them to do a lot. Mm-hmm.
You can have rotational guys when you know the back half is covered, right? When you got a Cam Chancellor back there, when you have those type of guys,
Earl Thomas, bro,
Earl Thomas back there. You know what I'm saying? So you can do some things with the front guys. And when you got heavy hitters in the middle and in the back. So.
Facts. You said Parsons could take a dump on the start and they still ain't trading.
Yeah.
Oh man, but you know what? It's time to wrap this show up. But yeah, appreciate y'all for pulling up, man. Great show, man. Appreciate the new folks for tuning in, man. Appreciate that as well, man. But before we end this show, I just want to remind y'all to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. You can also tweet us at ABG_everything and hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG_everything. Again, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Go Everything YouTube channel. Hit that red subscribe button. Also, most importantly, like this video. That does well for the Commanders algorithm on YouTube. It pulls up our videos, and that way all Commander fans can people and people we talking about. So we appreciate y'all for pulling up, man. Anyway, appreciate Glenn, Mo, George, and everybody in the chat for tuning in and pulling up. Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything powered by the Urban Sports Scene, Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. You dig? Deuces. We are out.